Hello, Rusty Coones here. Today, I have Kathleen Pederson with me. She's the Public Relations Officer for ABATE, California. She's also local number 3 scribe, treasurer, membership chair, and PR person. How you doing there?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm glad to be finally seeing your face with all the
Good to have you
communication
here.
on us.
I've heard a
Yeah.
lot about you. I haven't actually interviewed you before, but I've had to talk to you numerous times, obviously, because I call you the ringmaster. You're kind of the cohesiveness that holds everybody together. You set up the meetings and make sure everybody does what they need to be doing. So you have a very important job, and I'm glad we're putting a spotlight on you. So,
Well, I appreciate that. I'm kind of working under other people's direction, but I'm trying to help out.
right on. Well, thank you for taking the time. So what I want to do is before we get into all your, everything you do with the bait, let's talk about your history with motorcycles. When was the first time you were on a motorcycle?
Well, my dad had a bike during my adolescent years for 4 or 5 or 6 years, and I think I was 13. And he finally thought I was big enough. He was pretty much about safety. So I think he thought I was big enough and could handle myself and started giving me rides. That was pretty cool. He had a Honda, kind of a street Honda bike, It was quite a while ago, so the bikes are different now, but
Yeah.
he took
So
me
he
to
had
my
a motor.
home.
Did he have a motorcycle your whole adolescent life all the way through? Or?
I moved out when I was 18, and I don't think he had it by then. I think he
Yeah.
got even more safety conscious having 3 kids and being responsible, but he had one for a while, and that was really fun. I remember that I thought I was so cool when he would go to turn left. I would like lean right and thought I was doing the right thing. And it took me, and he never corrected me. And it took me like years later for somebody to go, "Hey, let me tell you something. This is
Yeah.
how you lean or not."
That's hilarious. It's funny because when I was a little kid, my dad at a young age took me on a Triumph 650 Bonneville through the housing tract, and he was leaning
Yeah,
into the turns, just normal, but on the back, it felt like he was really leaning in,
feels like more. Yeah,
and being on the back
yeah,
compared to the front, you feel it a lot different, man. It's like, whoa, you know what I mean?
yeah. My first husband had a 650 Bonneville, actually. That was a pretty cool little spiffy bike, little zippy bike.
Yeah, back in the day, that they were the
Yeah,
thing, man. You know.
yep.
So back after you were 13, didn't you have a boyfriend that raced motocross or something?
Yeah, 15, 16. He dirt
Yeah,
biker at riding, and we would go out and do that. And sometimes he would challenge me to get on his bike. And so I learned how to ride it,
yeah.
but I wasn't like racing or anything. It was kind of cool, but I
Yeah.
never got the bug to drive a bike myself. I know you're not supposed to use the word drive, but I never got the bug to really drive a bike myself. I always preferred to be on the back.
Right on,
I'm an
right
old
on,
fashioned girl.
right on. Okay, so then, when you were 18, tell me about the boyfriend that
Yeah. Oh, my husband's gonna love to hear about all the old boyfriends. But yeah, that's when I really got into the quote unquote biker world or motorcycle riding world. I had a really special boyfriend when I was 18, my first serious one, and he belonged to a group. I wouldn't say it wasn't an MC or anything, but he had a big group of friends who all rode. So we rode a lot. We rode a lot of, we'd go on runs and go camping, or we would, go to places. Again, it was a while ago, but I do remember that. And that was my introduction. And then from then on, off and on, met or hung out with groups that met other people and had other, dating experiences, or, I've been on a lot of motorcycles, and knock on wood, I've never hurt myself. It's
I'm kind
something.
of interested in this girlfriend of yours that had the street glide that used to take you around.
Oh yeah, that was the
Tell me
best. And
about
that
that.
wasn't that long ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago.
Okay.
I think it was a street glide, if not a road king road glide. Don't know my bikes really well, but it was definitely a big Harley with the fairing and the bags.
Yeah,
And she's a little taller and strong, and she was riding forever. I never got on the back of a bike from somebody that I didn't trust that had been riding a long time. But she, gorgeous girl, long blonde hair, and we would ride and go places, and whether it was bar hopping or We went to Hollister one year with a group of 10 or 12 bikes, and I always had a blast on the back of her bike. First of all, because I totally trusted her and she was a very good driver. And then secondly, we got a lot of fun attention with, two chicks on the back of a bike, and I've got lots of good pictures of that.
Yeah, when you guys pulled up to the hangout or whatever, man, the two
Oh,
girls
even
on a
just
bike.
people in the road, they'd honk at us. And she was a pretty outgoing, fun gal, and she always had music on the bike, and she'd be seat dancing and we'd be seat dancing, and it was pretty fun.
Right right
Yeah.
on. Okay, so as you got further along in the motorcycle culture, tell me about how you got introduced to ABATE.
I just got introduced hanging out to ABATE, and then got a look at Chuck and went, ooh. And he got a
So
look at me and
basically,
went, oh.
when you first came around ABATE, you came around Local 3, and Chuck
Yes,
was the
he
president,
was
wasn't
president. Yeah,
he? Uh-huh.
yeah. And so, so he's pretty dynamic. And eventually, I dropped my hanky, and eventually he picked it up and we got together. And
Right.
then from there, of course, being with him, we moved in together with each other fairly soon, but we didn't get married for years later. But being with him, I love being quote unquote woman behind the man. And I was really interested in supporting his passion. And he was legislative director at that time, as well as president of our local. So he was going to Sacramento. He was part of the beginnings of the anti-profiling in California. And I was right there. And, when you're secretary, then you're right there in the midst of everything, because the scribe job, you know what's going on and you pay a lot of attention. So I was really helpful and really active to support him and sort of absorb the passion of the rights that need to be protected or changed for the riders.
So when you were when you got hooked up with Chuck, basically you guys had your positions within ABATE. He was the president, and then you became a secretary at that time.
Yeah, I think I started out as secretary, and over the years, every year we change positions or we vote each other in or out. And started out with being the scribe and doing the membership on and off. We had other people doing that too, but off and on one or more of those jobs. And then right now, I happen to have all of them. COVID was tough for us. We tried to keep going, and we're social too. I mean, we're politically based and MRO based, of course, for motorcycle rights, but it's like Chuck, I will quote Chuck, he always says, nobody buys a motorcycle to be political. And so when you're trying to be social and you're trying to have events and you're trying to go have a beer with somebody, or you're trying to have a meeting and COVID's going on. And so, we ended up having meetings in our backyard for those people who would be comfortable meeting outside and meeting with each other. And we try to keep it together. So, we're kind of just coming out of having so many people sort of drop off. It's hard to keep people involved when you can't see them. It really is.
So you guys were working with Local 3 in the beginning, and when did you guys expand into the board for the whole state of California?
Well, Chuck was, like I said before, for several years, besides being Local 3 president, he was California State Legislative Director. And so that was a state officer position. Then recently we have someone else taking that job, Bobby T. He's doing that now. And just this last October, November of last year, so officially this year, they elected Chuck as executive director of the state of California. So that encompasses all of California and all 17 locals and all of that. And that's when I said, because we were kind of thinking about retiring and, kind of backing off and, not being so busy with that kind of stuff. But I said, baby, if you're going to do it, I'm going to be there anyway. And so I've had years and years and years and years of marketing. My basic professional life has always been marketing, sales and marketing, marketing and sales. So it was really natural for me to get involved in the PR position, especially when so many places that you go to, who's ABATE, what's ABATE, who's ABATE, what's ABATE. So we really, I really made, I think, a difference in promoting ABATE, in getting you know, the all of the materials and the visual of ABATE all more uniform and organized and professional. So anyway, that was the end of last year. So we've just been doing this now for, you know, 8 or 9 months. These new positions, but we're still also doing everything with the local as well.
Sounds like a great team right there. You guys are together every day. You bounce everything off each other. You reach
And
out.
he works from home, so he's here all the time. And I mean, this is kind of embarrassing, but I will say that we have been referred to many more times than once as the power couple, because we do work together and we do support each other, and where I can be a little more of this and he can be a little more of that. He's quite a leader person. He also tends to be pretty quiet and not always all that social. And as you can tell, I'm a chatty Cathy, so I give him the social part and he gives me the, you know, the muscle part, the strength part.
So being that you're the PR person for Local 3, when you go to events, you're out there, you know, meeting people and trying to tie people together with other MROs and writers and educate people, because a lot of people, they see ABATE, they've seen them forever, they've heard about them, but they really don't know what ABATE does. And for the people that don't know, ABATE is on the front line, you know, protecting the rights of all the writers, not just Harley writers or anything. I mean, everybody, sport writers, you know, legislation cuts into all categories of motorcycle riding. I mean, motocross all the way down. And
well, and that's one of the things that I did this year, is that with everything, again, with the marketing background and knowing stuff, I came up with our tagline, which we're using on every single thing, everywhere, every picture, whatever you ride, whoever you ride with, for our freedom of the road. So whoever you ride with, whatever you ride, and we've been pushing that message and reaching out to others. It's not just about the, you know, Harley chopper guys, right?
Yeah, and you know what? That's really important, is to unify the motorcycles all across the cultures. You know what I mean? Get them all together. They're much more powerful together than they are independently. And it does nothing but help. I mean, for people out there that don't have the time or don't want to be in ABATE, but if they just became a member and just paid the annual fee, they would get the bailing wire, you know, every month with the newsletter, you know, talking about everything that's coming down the pike. And they would actually contribute to the fight to keep motorcycling alive. You want to explain a little bit about that?
Even some of our clubs, like last night we had a bike night, and you know, there were members, a couple of guys here, a couple of guys there from different clubs, that because they know that that's what we do, and they'll, you know, slip us a check for whatever, and they like want to support us and thank you for what you do and thank you for what you do. So they are starting to get the idea of what we're doing and how important that is. And last night's bike night was a perfect example of what I do, because, you know, Chuck has a presence and people kind of want to meet him or kind of want to talk to him, but he's not quite as gregarious. And so I'm walking around, hi, I'm Kathleen, they call me Mama Bear, and you know, what's going on? And you know, have you heard about ABATE? And you know, because even with bike nights, people will come because they'll see the activity, but they won't be a rider necessarily. And met a couple of young, nice guys last night telling me about how they built their motorcycles, and it was pretty fun. And I give them the bailing wire and, you know, talk to them about it. And, you know, so I'm a lot more, and then at night I go home and I go, that's a lot, you know, it takes a lot of your energy to just be up, but it's fun. It was really fun last night. We had a good night last night.
Right on. I look forward to the day.
Bring them to introduce them to Chuck, or I go, oh, see that big guy, that's our president. And then I'll go bring him over, and, you know.
I look forward to the day, hopefully, where when you do events, it's not just all Harley riders. You've got people from sport bikes and the touring and all the showing up. You know what I mean? And
it's happening. We have in our local, we have a guy who rides a Goldwing. And he rides that bike like you've never seen anybody ride a bike. And he's a big guy, but he whips that Goldwing around. We are all impressed by how he rides it. We've got another guy who rides a BMW, a really cool, bitchin', brand new, you know, one of those BMWs that looks like a race, like a rocket ship. But yeah, we do. And these guys last night, one of them rode a, and I can't even remember that it wasn't a Harley. So I was like, yay.
Yeah, I've been riding Harleys all my life. I've had Victory, and right now I'm riding a BMW K1600B bagger. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's real
Wow.
spaceship kind of looking. It's got the bag still.
Right.
It performs like crazy. I've got the tuner on it, and it's over 170 horsepower.
Well, that's
Great.
what I hear, especially for big guys like you. Those bikes are powerful and give you a
Yeah,
lot of, and they're also very comfortable as well, which is
yeah. That's
pretty
why I
cool.
ride it. I mean, I
Yeah.
love the look of the Harleys and all that and the sound. Um, it's just there's nothing bad there. It's just that I've always been all about performance. You know what I mean? So
As long as they don't make us ride electric bikes, that's one of the things that also that ABATE is fighting for. If you want to ride an electric bike, cool.
yeah,
Please, government, don't tell me I have to. And that's what we're fighting for as well, to keep gasoline available, keep gasoline engines available. And that's kind of a big deal right now as well.
yeah, that's right. That's right. You want to have the choice, not be having
Choice.
something rammed down your throat. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, it's been a great interview so far. Do you have anything else you want to add before we sign out?
Well, just, the reason that they wanted me to have this interview with you as well is the PR aspect of ABATE, that we want more and more people to learn about it and know about it. I'm not a woman rider. I've always been on the back. That's my choice, but I'm definitely a big time supporter and do donate a lot of my time and energy
Yeah.
to, because I think these rights are really important. Involved in, we have our bailing wire. Can you see that? Yeah. This newsletter, heavily involved in that. Like you said, when you're a member, you have access to those. We also put the bailing wire online, and that's important to our business members, because when business members buy ad space in the bailing wire, it also goes out online, and it's crisper and beautiful online. It really looks pretty online. So that's a benefit to our business members as well. So
Well, I'll tell you what, the fact that you don't ride on the front of the bike doesn't mean a thing. You're doing such valuable work in front and behind the scenes, and you're holding this organization together. And that somebody, like I said, I call you the ringmaster. You know what I mean? Because you keep everybody organized. But
kind of bossy sometimes.
yeah, don't even worry. It doesn't matter that you're not the rider on the front of the bike. That's not even important. What you're doing is very important. So
Well, I
I
pride myself in
appreciate.
being a good passenger. I don't lean the wrong way anymore. I don't lean at all. I just stay with the shoulders.
Well, I'm sure Chuck appreciates that. You
Yeah,
know.
he does. He says, I don't even know you're there. So that's the biggest compliment I could have.
So give a shout out for the website for ABATE.
Okay, abate.org. It's really quite simple. The only thing people have to remember is .org, and it's because we are an organization, abate.org. We have a great website. We're constantly working on it, but it's pretty updated. And so anybody in California that is interested or maybe wants to visit a local, we have a list of locals on the website, and we have a lot of history on the website. And believe me, anywhere that anybody would go, if they showed up at a local meeting or a local bike night, they don't have to be shy, because I'm telling you, all of us all over the state welcome new members and want attention for the stuff that we do.
Right on. And for you people that are watching right now, just know that you don't have to be an active member. You don't have to go to events or anything. If you just join ABATE and contribute, yearly to the membership, you're going to get the benefit of the bailing wire with all the latest news on legislation and what's going on with the fight. But you're also protecting your rights. If you're a motorcycle rider, you're going to be bummed out if you can't ride at some point in the future. And
Well, that's
these
the thing,
guys
just
are
the yearly
protecting that.
support of, we're paying a legislator. I think we may be, not a legislator, a lobbyist.
Yeah.
And it's actually a father and son duo. So we have lobbyists in Sacramento, and that's a big deal for a motorcycle rights organization to actually have a full-time lobbyist that's paid.
Yeah.
And we've got to raise the funds. That's why we do what we do when we have our runs and our fundraisers, is to pay for our lobbyists as well as all of the other stuff that we do.
Yeah, you've got the Lombardo group with James and his son, and
Exactly. They're great.
They're top notch, been around forever, know the ins and the outs, and they're getting a lot done.
And that's the thing, is they're watching for stuff coming up on a daily basis, and they get to us and they say, okay, this is maybe gonna happen if you guys want to get it. And we do our, call to action blasts and emails, and we do a lot of stuff related that's all about motorcycle rights. So it's $20 a year. So, I mean, I keep saying that it should be more.
Yeah, I mean, they've already stemmed a lot of ridiculous laws that were proposed, and if it wasn't for those guys working together with you and the other MROs, you'd be doing smog testing all the time on bikes. You would be getting tickets in the mail from cameras for exhaust, and I mean, it's just on and on. It's a constant battle,
Right.
So,
and the other thing is we are on Facebook as well. ABATE of California, all one word. We are also on Instagram, ABATE of California, all one word. And we try to post things there, either activities or, laws that we're working on, or petitions that need to be signed for the government so everybody can be heard.
Right on, man. Everybody support these guys. Let's keep this
going.
I have
one more thing to say. I
want to thank you. Go ahead, though. Yes.
I'm incredibly excited to meet you. You're like a big guy in your own right. It was very exciting to meet you finally, because we've been communicating for months, weeks, whatever, to get all these interviews and all the information. And I have to say, you're in a lot of people's minds, especially, a big movie star and a big busy guy. And there's a lot of stuff you've done that we don't even know about. But you're also, which is amazing, you're polite and you're detailed and you're attentive, like little old me over here sending you a text, and the other way I get a text back. And I just want to give you a compliment, even from a female to a male, that you are just so nice to know. And then I also want to say that we are incredibly thankful for Russ Brown for even doing these interviews and allowing ABATE, or encouraging ABATE, or wanting to make a history of ABATE. Russ Brown, the whole organization, has been a huge supporter of ABATE and of the motorcycle industry here, especially. All I know about is California, but they do all kinds of stuff for us. They do flyers, and then now they have, Randy and a few other of the gals that are constantly promoting us. They do so much. It's amazing. So we just want, they help, they print our baling wire. Okay. So they're really supportive, and we are really thankful for that.
There's nobody like Russ Brown.
And Sean, oh my gosh, he's running it down. He works his buns off. So
Russ himself was a writer forever and a massive supporter, and the company is carrying on. Chuck and Wendy and the guys over there, I mean, it's just amazing. Sean, all of them, they're all about what we're doing.
And again, like you, even though they're incredibly busy, I mean, when I hear about all the other stuff you're doing from other people, I don't even know how you have a moment to breathe, and yet you're still so attentive, and you don't ever make any of us, at least me, feel like we're not important to you. And Rusty, that's a big deal for being a famous, handsome guy that you are. It's a big deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys deserve the accolades, and you deserve the attention. You guys are out there fighting it every day, every week. We're just out there enjoying it. We're enjoying what you guys have done, so you deserve every bit of those accolades. All right. So keep doing what you're doing. And I really appreciate it. All right. Okay. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.